friends, welcome to my channel. My name's Sadie. Today I wanted to share with you some projects that I finished recently, some things that I'm working on, and what I bought at Rhinebeck. So let's get started. Before we jump into everything, I wanted to share what I'm wearing. This is my Nurtured sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I made it out of Patton's worsted yarn that I got at Michael's. Alright, so the first project I wanted to share with you is my Augusta sweater by Gregoria Fibers. Here. So this yarn is hobby yarn. I can't remember the exact colorway, but I'll put it on the screen for you. I really enjoy this finished garment. The difficulty level is pretty simple. It was just a lot of stockinette, and then the lace pattern was a simple lace pattern, but I personally found it difficult to memorize the lace pattern because it was so similar each row, so I had to keep referring to the pattern. So other than that, it was easy and I enjoyed it, and the construction was simple, so it worked up nice and quickly. The thing that I ended up struggling with over time is that it's 3 strands of mohair held together, and because of the lace work, you have to knit 3 together multiple times, so it's like 9 strands of mohair that you're trying to wrangle together, so that got a bit frustrating. I would say that if you're a tight knitter, it would be really difficult, but I'm more of a loose knitter, so it was a little bit easier, but at times it could still be frustrating. Overall though, I'm really happy with the finished garment. This was actually my Rhinebeck sweater this year. It's really cozy, and I'll insert some images, but I really just like throwing it over a dress, and it's just a really great layering piece. I also really enjoy it because it's like a lighter weight knit, and that's really great for transitional seasons. I live in New York, and so right at the beginning of fall, it can still be pretty warm, but you just need like a really light layering piece, so this was perfect for those kind of occasions. So overall, I'm super happy with the finished item. The process was a little bit more difficult for me, but that could have just been because of where I am mentally. Right. So the next project I wanted to share with you is my Tamarack jacket, which is a quilted jacket by Grainline Studios. So this is my first ever quilted project. I've never quilted anything before, and it's also my first jacket project. So both of those things made it a little intimidating, but Grainline Studios is a very easy pattern company to follow. The written instructions are very clear, and they also have a sew along for this jacket here on YouTube. That's what I followed, and it's a step-by-step guide. They walk you through every single aspect of making this jacket, and that made this so much more achievable for me. So I really enjoyed making this project. Once I learned the quilting process, it became quite meditative for me, and relaxing. It did take me a little while because I started in spring when it was still kind of cold, and then I kind of set it aside for the summer. But then once I pulled it out at the beginning of this fall, I quickly finished it within a week. So it was a quick make. I plan on making a more in-depth review of this pattern in a later video, so please check back to see that. Okay, so that was everything for my finished objects. I just have the sweater and the jacket. So I want to move on to projects I'm currently working on. The first project that I have to share with you is called the Bits and Bobble sweater by Rachel Knits Things. Here's my version. This is a top-down sweater worked with worsted weight yarn. It's mostly stockinette with these rows of bobbles breaking up the color change. I've been really enjoying this project, from going from the 3 strands of mohair held together to a worsted weight project. It's been so nice for my hands and just very potato chip knitting. I wanted something that was easy but not boring, and I really enjoy the bobble rounds because they do add a bit of interest while you're making the sweater, and also visually it adds interest. So I'm enjoying it. It's working up really quickly. The yarn I'm using for it is by La Bien Amie. It's their Koi worsted weight yarn. I bought it a few years ago at a wool festival, and I'm really enjoying it. It's squishy but also kind of like rustic feeling. So I feel like it's going to be really warm and cozy. It has a really nice squish to it. And these are some of my favorite colors that I picked out. I'm going to list the colors that I'm using on the screen. The last one that I'll be incorporating is this navy blue color at the bottom. So overall, I really enjoy this pattern, and I also really enjoy working with the yarn. I would recommend. Okay, so for the second project I wanted to share with you, it is a sock project. This is the Tender Socks by Melody Hoffmann. I have made about 3 or 4 pairs of these because, like the sweater, it's very meditative but also both visually interesting and engaging while you're knitting it. It has this little bit of texture. They're very cozy. It is 2 strands of yarn held together, and I enjoy that because it adds a lot of structure and stability to the socks, which I've noticed they don't wear out as quickly as some of my other socks have. So the yarns I'm using, I think this one, it was just another mohair from Hobby Yarn again, the same place that I got the yarn for the Augusta sweater. And then the other yarn that I'm using is this yarn here. Let me see if I can get the tag out and read it for you. This is by Pearl Scout Yarns, and she is a natural dyer, and this is a Blue Face Luster fingering weight yarn, and I want to say the colorway was an Animal Crossing colorway for Celeste, which is one of my favorite characters in that game. So it's this beautiful pink kind of color held together with this mohair, and again, like I said, I've made like 4 pairs of these socks, and they don't wear out, and they're really cozy. And I've actually made another pair of this sock with the same yarn in a different color. So I would highly recommend this yarn combo if you're looking for hardy socks that are going to last but also look feminine and pretty. This is a great combo. This is just really my on-the-go project, so I take it in the car with me or when we're going somewhere. So I'm not really in a rush to finish these or something or get them done by a certain time. They're just my on-the-go project. Okay, so for my last project, it's a sewing project, and it is the Alder Shirtdress by Grainline Studios, and the fabric I'm using for it is a yellow slub from Blackbird Fabrics. I've got all the pieces cut out and ready to assemble. I'm hoping to get that done within the next couple of weeks because I am leaving for a trip to Arizona and I want to wear it when I go there. So that's everything for the things I'm working on at the moment. The last thing that I wanted to share was what I bought at Rhinebeck this year. For the past 3 years, I have been attending the Indie Untangled show on Friday, and then I attend the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival on Sunday. So I want to share what I got at Indie Untangled first. The first booth that I purchased from was a booth called Verse Yarns. This is what I picked up. This is a DK weight yarn in a very pale pink blush tone kind of color. All of her colors were absolutely stunning. I wanted to buy all of them. My friend actually got a gorgeous lilac-y purple color, but I just stuck to these 2. This is called Lyric, and it is made of 40% superfine alpaca, 40% fine merino, 20% silk. And like I said, it's a DK, and I can't express to you just how soft and squishy this feels. It is just lovely, and I can't wait to knit up a project with this. So I got 2 skeins of DK weight yarn. So the next booth that I bought from was called the Red Pansy, and I ended up picking up this bright red yarn from them. It's called Tomato Soup, and it is their Voyager sock base, which is 75% merino, 25% nylon. And I saw this and was immediately attracted to it. It's just this gorgeous bright red. It's slightly more saturated than a brick red, which is where my color comfort zone is. I tend to gravitate towards just like a little bit more muted red, but this one was really speaking to me. In fact, my husband was really impressed that I purchased this because it's not something I typically would buy. But I'm really excited to work with this. This is just a fingering weight yarn. I have plans for both of these yarns and everything I bought, but I want to share what I'm going to be making with everything in an upcoming video. So I hope that you can come back for that. Okay, so that was everything that I got at Indie Untangled. Then Saturday I stayed home and rested. Sunday is whenever I like to go to the Sheep and Wool Festival. And I had a few things on my list, but overall I was just shopping for fun. The first place that I really like to stop is the Merit Bookshop. I always love to pick up a book whenever I go. This year I had my eye on this little beauty by Lane Publishing, I mean. It's called Making Memories by Claudia Quintanilla, and it's a children's book for knitted patterns, and I had seen it online and in other podcasters' videos, and I just really like the timelessness of the knits. I have 5 nephews, and these patterns work for both boys and girls, so I was really excited to get my hands on this, and it's just a lovely book. Well made. I'm really excited to work from it. The next place that I had my heart set on going to was the Baton Farm booth. They have a little company that is with them called Forage Sow, and it's a woman who she dyes yarn here. She gets the wool actually from a local farm to me. So I've met the sheep there. She processes those little fleeces, and then she naturally dyes them with material local to New York. So I had met her last year. I'd bought yarn from her. I loved it. So I wanted to grab another skein this year. This year I decided to go with just a little fingering weight skein. This is a Corriedale Merino fingering weight, and the colorway is called Cup of Tea. So it's just this kind of tea stained, it's coming off more yellow in the camera, but it's a little more muted than that. And I've got some special plans for this. So these are the only 2 things I really had my heart set on, the book and the Forage and Sow yarn. Other than that, I was just shopping for fun, looking around, seeing what caught my eye. And eventually something did catch my eye in one of the buildings. At the Harrisville design booth, I saw some yarn hanging, and I'd heard about it. I'd never seen it in person, but whenever I saw it, something just sparked inside of me, and I had an idea. So the yarn I'm talking about is the Spincycle Yarns, and I ended up buying 2 skeins of the dyed in the wool. The first colorway that I got is called Wallflower, and the other colorway that I got is called Dear Diary. And I just think these are so beautiful, and I actually do really like the subtle color change. I'm not very drawn to high contrast marl, but this is just subtle enough that I had an idea to pair it up with something in stash. So like I said, I'm going to share what I plan on doing with these in a future video, but I'm really excited to work with these yarns. So that's everything that I got at Indie Untangled and the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you what I plan on making, but for today, that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!